I remember when me and Rochelle were dating and we were partners, I remember I got so mad because she had danced like 4 times in a row with this one guy.
Jealousy!
And then we danced, and I danced with her afterwards, and I danced with her so mad. I was just gonna like, ugh.
And you say, Roxanne!
She's gonna feel my pain in my embrace if I dance.
You're like,
and you know what? It backfired.
Oh, you give her the Iron Maiden? It's like, ah! You know?
No, I was like throwing her around, like, and she loved it.
You know what? That's a funny thing.
Loved it. We are back with another video of Left Foot, Right Foot, and we're gonna talk about that moment you've probably felt when you went to a tango festival or a tango marathon or even a really nice milonga, where you just had like an amazing night, you had a bunch of great dances, and then you just feel this tango high sensation, right? And that kind of goes on, lingers on for a good amount of time, but then it goes away and you go into this tango blues, depressive-like state. So we're going to actually talk more about that. Yeah, have you felt the tango blues?
I feel like tango blues every day I go to work. You know, because seriously, you go to work, you're like, I can't hug people. It's an HR issue. You know, I mean, it's tough because you feel great, you know, you feel amazing. You're surrounded by friends, and then you go to work, and you know, it's just, it's water cooler talk. Hey, did you watch the last Game of Thrones? Like, you know, and then like, you know, you can't talk about this stuff because you don't understand. You know. Well,
that's interesting because I guess we're just talking about blues in general. So I think most people then should take up tango, but then they have regular blues. They don't need tango blues on top of it.
Yeah.
But I would say that most people need more contact, especially more touch. I think in this day and age, I think a lot of people are missing quote unquote connection or physical touch or these kinds of things in our society. And so I'm wondering, like, okay, the tango blues thing does exist. It does persist. But is there some way of like lessening that?
Yeah, also that's kind of hard too, because like you come back and you know, you kind of pump everything up with like these rose-colored glasses, right? It's like, I went somewhere, it's amazing, it can't compare. And then you feel like, then you end up feeling like your hometown, your home base is a little stale. It's like,
you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like all the people that go to Buenos Aires. And
they come back home. They're like, oh,
I ain't dancing here. What the heck is this? This is not tango.
I know. Or like, they're like, people can't connect. People can't, you know, or like, no, listen to the music. And it's like,
get off your high horse.
You know, but the other thing is like, remember when I went to BA and I came back and Johnny was like, you know, Rob, you know that feeling you get? You just got hold on to it as long as possible because it's just gonna slowly slip away. And like, I'm like, yeah, I feel good, but it's like, how do you hold on to something that like you don't know what's going on? You know, like I didn't understand what was going on with my body. You know, like, and I was giving better embraces. People were talking about like, oh, you just came back from VA, didn't you? I'm like, yeah, but like, how'd you know? You know?
But how much is that like a mind thing? Like how much is that mentality? Like is it, maybe it's just your own thoughts. You just think like, oh, I just came from Buenos Aires. I came from the Mecca of tango. And so now I've been baptized and everything is transformed. I've blossomed. I've become the true tango dancer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just all in your head and you've just...
The placebo effect.
Yeah, the placebo effect.
Yeah. You know, it's
a placebo effect for a reason.
Yeah.
It works.
It does work. You know, it's like it doesn't matter. So maybe it doesn't matter because like you feel it. Sometimes it's like you fake it until you make it. Maybe that's the thing. You go over there and you don't realize it. But I'm gonna say, when I went to BA, I was only 2 years in. You know, and when you start dancing with like high quality dancers like that maybe people didn't give me the chance in LA because I was still new.
Yeah.
Over there, it's like there's such a high volume of people that, you know, a chump, like any chump, like 2 years in could get great dances, and you know there were more of them. So I think that just by volume alone, you know, and the amount of dancing I did, I came back and I was a better dancer. Did I maintain that volume? Did I dance? You know, I couldn't dance 16 hours a day because I have a day job. You know, over there I was dancing 16 16 hours a day for 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
Hitting like 3 to 4 milongas a night. And no, I'm not kidding, I did. It was like all roads end at La Viruta, you know? And then, you know, and that's the thing, it's like, you know, I didn't have to work because I would just go to sleep, wake up, and it's class, practica, milonga. It's just nonstop, you know? So if you have that kind of experience, of course you gotta get a jump in your game. But
But then is it the harder the fall, right? Because the higher the high?
You know, I think there's that. I mean, it depends how much how hard you took it, you know? I mean, I guess for me, I didn't take it that hard because I was so focused on competition at that time.
Okay.
You know, and I knew it was going away. I was trying to hold on to it as long as possible. I didn't know how I could, you know?
Yeah.
How do you hold on to something that just magically just was there?
Appears.
Like, yeah, it was like through osmosis, I got it, you know? And, you know, I mean, I could will it all I want, but it went away.
Yeah.
But I think where I am now, because I have, you know, more experience, more training, better teachers, a better command of my body, that I don't think it's necessary for me to get that kind of feel by going to BA, because I could generate it within myself, you know?
It's interesting because I feel that feeling you get that you described from Buenos Aires, I get that feeling at like a really good marathon. So it's a tango marathon, usually it starts on Friday, ends on Sunday. And by Sunday, I am so relaxed. Like there's a lot of people that are tired. They're like, oh, I'm just beat down. Like, you know, my body hurts. But for me, like Sunday is like the optimal time for me. Like I feel like my body's so used to dancing in this way that it's just kind of, everything becomes relaxed. Everything becomes easier. I feel like I can just do whatever I want just so seamlessly. And I wish I could just always capture that moment and keep that with me. Because I almost like, where's the save button? I want to save this. Like I can't say, I think I saved it, but then it goes away, like you said.
You know what it is? Like, have you thought, maybe it's like that, like, you're so tired that it's your muscle memory that's taking control. So your body's like super efficient.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, yeah, you know? Like, I don't have to work and I'm feeling it, you
it's
know?
like on eco mode. It's like trying to save your gas. Like,
but that's the thing. But then it becomes subconscious because you're so tired. You can't, it's like your body knows what to do and your mind's not there to screw it up for you, you know? Because sometimes thinking too hard gets you away from feeling.
Right.
You know? So, because one of the things I did in stage, you know, to actually get stage stuff down and to practice stage, was actually, I did 2 hours of jiu-jitsu right before stage. No, I'm not kidding, I did, because it's like, I wanted to show up tired, because, not because I was a masochist, but it was because the idea that I want to be able to rely only on like my muscle memory, so that I couldn't overthink it. It was just, you know, I have what I have and this is what we're going with, you know?
That's funny that you mentioned that, because it reminds me of when we won SoCal, me and Rochelle. We were in the finals for Valse, Milonga, and Tango, and they happened to do Tango last. And so they did Valse. We would dance the ronda. There was only one ronda. So we would dance the Valse, then go out and then come back in for Milonga, dance the Milonga Tanda, and then come back in and do the Tango. And we were so tired from the Valse and Milonga that we just relaxed so much in our Tango. And I think that's exactly, I think that helped us a lot, because usually at that time we were very antsy, we moved a lot. But I think because of all that extraneous stuff for the 2 previous categories, it really just helped us settle in.
Yeah, so you burned off all the extra energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shook it off. And
yeah. So maybe that's a strategy now, huh?
just go for a run, like when you go to your marathon.
Yeah. Yeah. Then everyone's like, "Ooh, you feel so relaxed." You know? Like I you know, next marathon I'm gonna be in the bathroom like doing like burpees and stuff. Like, who's gonna carry the boats and the logs? You know. But going back to the blues, man. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like you get on such as high, and then like you're crashing down hard because you generate all that serotonin and oxytocin and all those like feel good vibes, and then it's like it's like you quit cold turkey, you know.
Well, the marathon is so magical. It's like you went away for a weekend. You went on this private, like this trip somewhere, and it's like it feels like an out of body experience, and so like it feels like it's very surreal.
Yeah, it does. But how do you deal with that? Like, how do you get over that emotional gap? Because you know, it's like there's this vortex in your body going, "Give me," and you're like, "There's nothing here. There's nothing here to feed it. You know?
Well, do you go tango like immediately, or do you take a break? Like for me, I go to the gym. Like the gym is like my sanctuary. I could work out 4 or 5 hours a day if I really wanted to. It's where I can listen to like my music, listen to podcasts, stretch, lift weights, run. And so maybe that gets me in a better mindset to get over the tango blues, maybe.
No, for me, I can see that. But I think for me, I have to go with tried, true, and tested. Meaning that when I go to a Malanga, I'm not going to dance with anybody and everybody. Actually, I probably wouldn't go to a Malanga. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call up my 3 best friends that I'm going to dance with and just work with them, you know, and like, because I can generate that feeling with them, you know. I can't generate that feeling with the general public because like I don't have the skills to generate that feeling with just anybody, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe if I was like Flaco Danny or something like that, you know, I'd be like I can dance with anybody, you know, and like do his thing. But you know, I'm not Flaco Danny, you know. I'm not there. Like I need someone who put in at least as much time as I did to generate that feeling, you know, because there are some people who can carry people and generate that feeling within themselves because they could focus on that they're a good person, they're a kind person, or they could elicit an influence that to have that person generate that feeling. But you know, I'm not there, man. I need someone who already has it, and I'm just gonna call a house party.
A house party.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I think both of our approaches actually go against a lot of people because I think a lot of people take a break, right? I think a lot of people don't dance, right? I think a lot of people take at least a week off, or like they rest their feet and regenerate. Like I have the opposite approach. I feel like in order to build your stamina, you have to keep building it, right? That's in order to maintain, right? You have to keep trying to create more, like maximize your level of stamina. And that means by going out and doing something that requires endurance. Yeah.
And well, for me, I think it's just, I'm looking for that person who's as screwed up as I am. You know?
What?
Like, no, because it's like, because it's almost like you have, like, to relate with me, you have to be that passionate. And if you're that passionate, you're probably like, push yourself over the edge and like, you're riding the line. You don't know if you're gonna tip over or not. So, I'm looking for that person who's just as crazy as I am. You know. And
how often do you find that?
Well, thank God I'm partnered with one of them. Like I think my whole tango team for stage is just as crazy as I am. You know, they don't necessarily generate the same social vibe that I get from people who are pure social dancers.
Yeah.
But no, I mean they're tried, true, and tested. I'd rather just call them up and say, hey, let's just let's go out and barbecue and put on some music and see where it goes.
Well, here's a question: have you ever felt somebody that's on a tango high, like they didn't tell you, like you just danced with them and like something changed? Like, have you ever had that? Like like you predicted, like you just came back from somewhere? Or...
Oh yeah, definitely. Because like you can you can feel it. I'm more sensitive to it now, especially since we've been training a lot with emotional content in our movement. That when I feel people come in for the tango high, like their movement is so full of emotion. It's almost like they came from theater class and they've like cried in the corner for like and it's still there with them. It's like they're a method actor and like they haven't switched characters yet.
They're still in character.
Yeah, like they're still the Joker. Like he's like
Yeah.
It's like that for me. It's like so they still have so much emotional content because sometimes I feel that a lot of people, they dance so technically that they forget to tap into their emotions.
They push it to the side.
Yeah, but when you're so tired and like all you have left is you're running on willpower and fumes and emotions, then it really comes out, and that's like super magical for me.
I wonder if you could channel that, because that's actually happened to me before. I remember when me and Rochelle were dating and we were partners. I remember I got so mad because she had danced like 4 times in a row with this one guy.
Jealousy!
And then we danced, and I danced with her afterwards, and I danced with her so mad. I was just gonna look, ugh.
And you're gonna say, Roxanne!
She's gonna feel my pain in my embrace if I dance.
You're like,
and you know what? It backfired.
Oh, you give her the Iron Maiden? It's like, You know?
No, I was like throwing her around, like, and she loved it.
You know what? That's a funny thing.
She loved it.
She's like, wait, what are you saying? Girls like to get thrown around? No, I was joking. Just joking.
She was like, wow, so much power. I was like, oh my God. I'm like trying to like manhandle it. You actually like this? Are you serious?
So
yeah, backfired.
Point note, guys. Girls like to get manhandled. No, not really.
But I think that channeling the emotion is so interesting, right? Whether it's negative emotion or rage or positive emotion, I think it's true, right? I think people often just kind of go zen and zone into their own thing. But what if you went past that? Like, what if you channeled, like, what if you did become like a method actor and try to channel some emotion from some other place? And I think that maybe that's what a lot of people are missing in their dance.
No, and I think that's, to take that Tango blues, I mean, you feel so sorrowful, like, I'm missing this. Like, take that sense of longing and just use it, like, use that, like, just bottle up, like, be, like, so sad and depressed. And then when that, like, what's that one song? Like, there's that one song, like, that one song, I forget, the translation is, like, The Night You Left Me. It's a Troilo song. But like, yeah, like any kind of sad, depressing song, like Recién, where it's like, just use it in there, like, like dance as you're gonna cry on the shoulder of your partner. Like, no, really, just go for it, And I think that's how I would just deal with the blues, just like whatever emotion I have, just let it out.
But is letting it out something that's like physical, or like is it in your embrace, like, or is it in like how you like? How does someone channel it through movement? Like, how does someone channel an emotion through movement?
I mean, no, I was just thinking, the Bruce Lee thing. It's like a finger pointing at the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, or you will miss all that heavenly glory.
Hey, I love Bruce Lee. He's super philosophical.
It is.
I love his philosophy.
It is. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, for me, channeling the emotion, it's through a whole movement. It's like, I didn't understand how to do it before. I mean, sometimes I would go, I'm angry. I'm so angry, just like, rah, I'm gonna just bite someone's head off, and I dance with that like mentality, but then like when I start doing stage, it's this whole idea of like every movement is a depiction of like the emotion, the character, the sadness, or the confidence or whatever, So, like they gave me James Bond because I was always like a very passive person, and like my dude's like, I know that there's a James Bond in there, and and I was like, okay.
What would James Bond do in Tango?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, because I was, people just think, oh, James Bond's a super spy, right? But when I really had to come and study him, like, what makes James Bond James Bond? And I was thinking,
he's suave, smooth.
No, beyond that, he's a guy who dictates everyone else's time, because you know what? He chooses when, he chooses if he's going to save you or not. He chooses when you die. He chooses, it's like, he doesn't move until he has to or wants to, he's like, you can be pointing a gun at him. He's like, and that's it. He already knows like the outcome before you do. And like, it's that kind of confidence where it's like, you can have a nuke and he doesn't even care, because the only reason why he's moving is to save somebody else, to accomplish the mission. But that's the whole point. It's like that idea, that confidence that you don't have to move, and you can move the world.
But here's the thing: like, how do you do it genuinely? Because like I feel like, all right, anyone that's ever danced like Pugliese with me, like I channel a lot of like emotion and drama when I dance Pugliese, but how do you channel like other emotions to other orchestras or other songs without feeling like I'm being cheesy and like I'm trying to do too much, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a process. I think you have to do too much. You have to do too much to know when to pull back, because if you never do, it's like a handstand. If you never go past the balance point, you'll never get to the balance point. So that's what I mean. Like, go out there, be cheesy, be like, go crazy. That's That's why I love when when I practice with my partners who I'll say, do your embellishments, like just do them. Like, I don't care how bad you mess up, I don't care if it's offbeat. It's like, you need to just keep on doing it. You need to throw them out like, like there's no tomorrow, and just go for it, because you can always pull back, but you need to work it into your repertoire, and that means consciously messing up, like consciously doing stuff, knowing that it's going to be bad, so that you know how to make it good next time.
Well, maybe that's the cure to Tango Blues, right? It's kind of like, don't be afraid of failure. Go out and try other things. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a solution.
That is a solution, but I think here's the other thing. That I think one of the problems with Tango Blues is that people expect something external to set them right. They don't generate it within themselves. It's kind of like, I had such an amazing time at like this marathon, and I need something here to give me that same thing. It's not, I'm gonna do something and generate it and have it become a cycle. It's gonna go out and come back. It's always like, I can't have it here because I don't have the followers here aren't up to speed, or the leaders here aren't that good, or whatever, or like, we just don't have the population. They're looking for something to like fill the void, rather than I'm gonna generate within myself.
Well, it's easy to focus on external things.
It is.
Right? And we live in a culture that celebrates external things. Did you get the new iPhone, right? Yeah. Did you download this app, right? Do you have a car? Do you have a house? Do you we live on the status symbols of external things are the things that drive a lot of American culture.
It does, but that's why what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call my 3 friends, 4 friends, 6 friends. Hey, me, like, you guys invite some people too. We're gonna go out and barbecue, put on some tango music, and what happens, happens. And that's my answer for it, because now that I've been investing into my emotional value in my dance, I feel that I actually now have a shot to generate that feeling that I don't need to go to BA to get it. I need to develop within myself so that I can give it out to other people. So then maybe they appreciate it, and then they're like, well, maybe I don't need to go to BA because Rob's here. So
that's interesting.
I feel like I'm not saying I can do it right now.
Yeah, but it's something you strive for.
Yeah, but not just that, but like I actually now have the language to actually possibly do it. Because I didn't train with emotional content. I didn't train to like how to put emotion into my movement. And like this past weekend, we went to San Diego. Like I met people who actually move with emotional content.
Right.
And I might say emotional content, and people go, "What does that mean? What does that mean?" And that's a very like foo-foo word. Like when people just say, "Feel the energy,
feel the ground, feel the energy, the emotion."
It's so like abstract. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
But like for me, the emotional content is like in the embrace. You kind of like, when you hug a person and they're sad, and like this person's gonna cry any moment.
Right.
Like that's the emotional content I'm looking for, and that's just for sadness. Like, but like when you hug someone and they're like jump for joy because they just like got a promotion, or like they're getting married, or whatever it is that the goal is, and they're like they're so elated that like you can feel it through every hair in their body. That's the emotional content I'm talking about. And it's hard to put in into technical terms, like, they were leaning forward 45 degrees, like
the way they bent their leg and angled their foot.
It's not about it. It's something that like I can't put into a schematic, but I know it when I feel it, because it's there. It's so apparent that it's overpowering.
You know what? It makes me think about COVID and the 2-year or a 1.5 year break that I took from tango, and because I kind of hid myself away from tango. I was someone who was obsessed with tango, and I knew I was obsessed, and I knew I couldn't dance because of the pandemic. And so I just imagined or pretended that tango no longer existed. I didn't listen to tango music, didn't watch anything tango. But now, because you're bringing up all this stuff, I'm wondering, what if I just dealt with that emotional, constraint? What would I have done if I really tried to still be obsessive with tango during the COVID era, where we're all in lockdown? That'd be interesting.
That would be interesting, but also I think you can still have it. I mean, you can still have like pent up energy of like, feeling confined. I mean, in a sense, life could be very suffocating, in a way. I'm not saying, You could be in a suffocating relationship with your, with your family who expects something from you.
Right.
You could be in a suffocating relationship with your coworkers who, or the demands of society to be someone that and it's so hard with everything that's going on to be the person you're supposed to be. It can be suffocating. So in a sense, you can use that same energy and then just remember what the pandemic was like and just let it out,
Right.
And it's a bit cathartic, I'd say. It's definitely cathartic. It's who needs paper therapy? We got tango, right?
True. That's why we all dance it. But yeah, let us know how you feel about tango blues, the tango high you might achieve at certain moments or points of your tango lifetime. We would love to know how you deal with the tango blues with you and the tango high itself as well. But yeah, that's gonna do it for us on this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Left Foot, Right Foot. If you can, click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can keep up to date with us on our newest content.
It really goes a long way with helping us create more interesting and exciting content for all of you, and we appreciate all of your support. Thank y'all so much.